The separation of bank accounts is a secret of the rich. And in this video we'll talk about what it means to separate, why it is so powerful, and what you can do to put it into action too. I was lucky enough to learn about this concept before I even started working, and that allowed me to use it immediately. Otherwise, with a salary of 60-ish thousand per year, I probably would not have been able to save up a multiple six-figure net worth. So let me share what I learned so you can apply it too. Now, a few friends of mine are actually not reckless spenders at all. On the contrary, they stay well below their means. But what they do is they save the money in their checking account, or to put it more accurately, let it accumulate there. And this version has several downsides. The first is you don't know how much of your income you're actually saving because the amount of money in your bank account fluctuates all the time. Second, you don't have a good and reliable way to measure your goals. If your goal was to save $10,000 and you hit that goal in your checking account, but then your rent goes off that account and it's again by just, I don't know, maybe $8,000. So there's no way of actually measuring your success. Third, you don't put your money to work because there is slim to none return on a checking account. Number 4, the more money you see in your bank account, the more you are tempted to spend it. And number 5, there's actually a security risk, because when you keep all of your money in one bank account and then the account gets hacked, okay, that's very rare, or your debit card is compromised, that's not that rare, you might not have access to any money. And one reason why people struggle to build wealth is because of a lack of system. And one important part of building our wealth building system is to separate bank accounts, to separate saving from spending. Now, before I get to the practical side of things, have you ever had an unexpected pile of money? Maybe in form of a bonus at work or a tax refund or a gift? And did you then spend it maybe on a vacation or any other kind of extraordinary spending? I definitely did. My mom used to send me money. She still does that sometimes. Even though I always say to her, no, keep your money, I don't need it. But you know, she wants to support me and also doesn't need all of it for herself. And when I was still a student, this was basically my salary. But after that, I had that money additionally to my salary. And I remember that at some point I was like, okay, wait a minute, where did all this money go? And the reason for that is mental accounting. That is a cognitive bias where our brain automatically builds those different categories and we create those boxes in our head and we treat money differently based on where it comes from. So instead of doing something useful like saving and investing or maybe paying off debt, we blow it all on nice things without even noticing. And in those cases, mental accounting is bad for us. But I think, especially in saving and investing, we can use it to our advantage. And that brings us to the practical solution. We will start with the simplest one, and that is a 2-account system. That is when you receive your money in one account, and that is the same account where you spend your money from. And then you open up a second account, preferably one that pays interest, like a high interest savings account or a money market account. And then you transfer the money you want to save there and you don't touch it. And this simple system has already all the advantages that we need. First, it separates spending from saving. Second, when we spend from our checking account, we don't feel guilty because that's what it's for. The singular purpose of the checking account is to spend money from. And everything that's on there after you saved, you're allowed to spend. Third, we have a safe place to save our money because we know this is the account where we keep our money. And it is also out of sight, which is actually a good thing because we're not tempted to spend it. And the more this grows, the more it creates this sense of abundance and also a sense of security. And at the same time, we're keeping a little bit of scarcity in our checking account because we want to have an abundance mindset and we want to have abundance in our savings and investment accounts, but we don't want to be too abundant in our spending that then leads to scarcity in all of our finances. And number 4, it creates a return. And even if it's just, let's say, 1 to 5% max at this first stage, spoiler, we're not gonna stop with this one savings account, but we're letting our money work for us. And this is just the beginning. Once we have filled up the savings account up to a certain amount, we will create another account, an investment account that lets our money grow even faster. This then will look like this. So this is the simplest version, but I have some other options for you. Now, you can have a system with more than 2 accounts, and this can be helpful when you struggle with spending, for example. So one way would be to use one checking account just to receive your salary and other types of income streams. And then you open a second checking account to pay your bills from. And this version forces you to only spend what is in that checking account, so what you allocated from your income checking account to that spending checking account. But in case it is not enough, you can go back to your income account and you don't have to touch your savings. And everything that is like left over in the income account, you can then later put into savings and investments. Now, another variation of this is that you have, again, this first checking account where you receive your salary and other kinds of income streams. And then you use the second checking account just to pay your fixed costs, because the fixed costs are the costs that you know you have to pay every month. And then you can transfer the money you need for that from your income checking account. And then you spend the variable costs, so these everyday spendings, from the first account, from the income account. And that way you have a better overview of how much you can spend variably. And then there is a third model, and that is the one that I personally use. So I have a checking account that I pay the fixed costs and the variable costs of everyday life from. And then I have an additional checking account that is my fun account. And I transfer a certain percentage of my money there. And from that account I pay for vacations and also for luxury items. And that way I have a place where I always have money for vacations. That is nice to know because I keep the actual numbers in my checking account pretty scarce. And also for me personally, it adds another layer of, not feeling guilty about money that I spend from there, because I particularly created it for that. With more and more years into your personal finance journey and also with a growing net worth, the structure of accounts will change. But the basics actually will stay the same. You will have at least one checking account where you pay your bills from. You will also have one or more accounts for saving. And you will at least have one investment account, if not more. Now that you know how to set up your account system, you have to apply a second principle as well in order to build wealth, and you will find a video about this here. I will make this a little personal finance 101 series, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you like, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.